Welcome everybody to your Traders Exclusive. This is Joseph Cusick, VP of Wealth and Asset Management at MoneyBlock.com. Well, yesterday it was looking a little bleak. You got the short-term breadth indicators were bearish. They continue to still stay in that bearish area, but with the bounce that we've seen today, it's hard-pressed to say that the bulls are really pressed. All five of the equal weight sectors were in downtrends. I'm talking about the consumer discretionary, finance, tech, industrials, and healthcare were all in downtrends yesterday, and they continue to stay there. Now, they're challenging upside with the breadth actually starting to move to the upside a little bit, but the thing that concerns me right now, for instance, in the tech markets, if you take a look at the Qs, they've been forming lower highs and lower lows. We got right now resistance coming in at around 123.5. We're going to watch that level. If it breaks there, then we could say that we're going to see higher highs and we're seeing some momentum to the upside in tech. As I've said before in the past, I watch the small caps. That's that canary in the coal mine. IWM broke down first and remains in a short-term downtrend. We need to see that leadership. Now, they've bounced back today, but if you look at IWM, it keeps continually challenging to the downside and has been lagging the performance of its large cap brethren. Taking a look at the bonds, well, the bonds are down almost 8% over the last couple weeks, and that's a pretty deep downtrend. As a matter of fact, yields were actually moving up with the market. A little bit interesting there. With bonds selling off like this, that should be supporting the equities, but you keep seeing that they're holding up. We want to see if this oversold nature in the bonds, saw a little bit of a pickup yesterday, but we want to see if that 126 level on TLT starts to act as a resistance point, pull back, because if in fact the bonds do start to pull off, that cash is going to have to go somewhere, and that could be a further catalyst for the equities. Taking a look at the dollar, remains in a short-term downtrend. It is getting quite oversold. All right, so we're going to look at it and say, around on the UUP ETF, look around that 25.20 level where it's going to get interesting. And oil has been falling sharply. It remains still in a short-term uptrend, but we're going to see that key support right around. We want to see it above 19 on USO. So let's keep an eye on that. And then finally, gold. Taking a look at the precious metals, and the metals in general have been under some pressure, especially if you look at XME and steel. But you've seen palladium, but gold remains very volatile and is still in that short-term downtrend. Look at that 116.5 level is interesting. See if we start to get some lines drawn in the sand, proverbially speaking. So right now, a lot of action that's happening. Upside seems to be, the bulls seem to have taken control. If you look at the large cap and the S&Ps, very interesting action going on. One last thing I want to talk about, oil. USO, the ETF that tracks oil, that's fallen sharply. It still remains in somewhat of an uptrend. Keep an eye on 19 on USO. As a matter of fact, actually keep an eye also on the airlines. They've actually been benefiting from the drop in crude prices lately after a nice bounce. Watch 19 as a key support level in oil. Well, that's it for today on your Traders Exclusive. This is Joe Cusick, VP of Wealth and Asset Management from MoneyBlock.com. We'll see you next week and have a great weekend.